Imagine this. A man wakes up in an unremarkable parking lot in Germany. But this isn't just any parking lot. This was the site of the Führerbunker, the very place where Adolf Hitler spent his final days over 7 decades ago. He's got a pounding headache, almost like someone shot him in the head, and a strange little toothbrush mustache that you might recognize. The year is 2022. Adolf Hitler has somehow come back to life. The first moments, total confusion. What do you think would happen next? The confusion would be overwhelming. Hitler, just moments after regaining consciousness, would be hit with a flood of emotions. The world he once knew is gone. It's almost unrecognizable. The world in 2022 looks so different from the 1940s in every conceivable way. From the fashions to the technological advancements to the very social attitudes, everything has changed. Can you imagine his reaction to seeing things like electric cars, flat-screen TVs, or the fact that almost everyone is walking around with tiny computers in their pockets, capable of storing the entirety of human knowledge? He would need time to process all of this, but there's something else waiting for him. It's a realization, one he might not be ready to face. The country he fought for, the ideology he pushed, the very fabric of his existence. It's all been fundamentally altered. The state of modern Germany. So what happens when Hitler wakes up and takes a look at the Germany of today? Let's just say he wouldn't be happy about it. Back in 1945, Germany was a country in ruins. Its infrastructure had been shattered, its cities reduced to rubble. Millions of lives had been lost, and his violent pursuit of his vision left the country broken. But here's the twist. Today, Germany is thriving. It's considered one of the world's strongest and most respected nations. The nation he once led has become a symbol of reconciliation and progress. The thought of that might stir something deep within him, an anger perhaps. The first sign of it would likely appear when he sees the flag flying from government buildings. You see, after the fall of Nazi Germany, the country adopted a new flag, and it's nothing like the one Hitler envisioned. Symbols of the past, a changed flag. Germany's flag today is the original black, red, and gold, the one that existed before the rise of the Nazi regime. For Hitler, this would be an insult. His vision, his empire, gone, replaced by a symbol of unity that completely repudiates his legacy. But it's not just the flag that would infuriate him. It's everything else. Everything Germany has done to rebuild and atone for the horrors of his rule. The rise of women in politics. Can you picture Hitler, still in disbelief, walking into a bar and catching sight of the current German chancellor, Angela Merkel? What would he think seeing the first female chancellor, someone he would have never allowed to rise to such power? Women, in Hitler's twisted ideology, were confined to roles as wives and mothers. Seeing Merkel, a strong, influential woman leading the country, would be one of the many moments of rage for him. A world moving forward. Next, he might turn the TV on, trying to look for something, anything that might remind him of his reign. Instead, he's hit with the reality of a world that has moved on. Germany's neighbors, once destroyed by his conquests, have rebounded. Poland, a country he tried to wipe off the map, is thriving. England? Also recovered from the Blitz and now moving forward, too. Every inch of the world he once tried to dominate is thriving without him. This realization would only deepen his fury. The power of free speech. A big shock would come when Hitler tunes into a news channel. There, on TV, he finds comedians joking about him. Imagine that, people laughing at him, mocking his legacy. If there's one thing Hitler valued, it was control. His regime didn't allow for dissent. Criticism of him was treason. So seeing jokes about himself, especially from iconic Jewish comedians like Mel Brooks and Charlie Chaplin, would probably be enough to send him into a fury. How could this be allowed? How could the world he built allow this? Freedom of the press. But it doesn't stop there. What would he think about the free press? In Nazi Germany, censorship was the order of the day. But now, Germany ranks among the top countries for press freedom, with an open media landscape. Could Hitler handle the idea that anyone could freely criticize him, or worse, freely criticize Nazi ideology? This was the world of free speech, and he was not part of it. History and memory. Hitler's next stop would likely be a library. In a country where books were once burned and entire cultures erased from history, imagine his reaction to the books freely available in today's Germany. Titles like Les Miserables or War and Peace, works he tried to eradicate, would be sitting on the shelves, easily accessible. Books that were once forbidden in Germany's libraries are now part of everyday life. The world he fought for, the ideologies he tried to instill, have been drowned out by knowledge, history, and time. The push for equality. But the shock wouldn't end with books. Hitler would be further distressed by the progress Germany has made on LGBTQ+ rights. Remember, the Nazis persecuted the LGBTQ+ community, sending many to their deaths. But today, Germany protects these rights. Same-sex marriage has been legal since 2017, and discrimination based on sexual orientation is outlawed. The very things Hitler despised have not only persisted but flourished. A diverse society. In the streets, Hitler would see faces he never imagined. Germany, the country he once tried to make homogeneous, is now a diverse, multicultural society. Over 19 million people in Germany have an immigrant background. It's a country that, despite its horrific past, has opened its arms to diversity in ways that Hitler could never have dreamed of. As he walks through the streets, he would see this new Germany, a society of inclusion, tolerance, and respect, everything he despised. A madman's rage. By now, it's clear, Hitler's rage would only grow. He would be surrounded by people he tried to exterminate, by values he tried to destroy. And there, in Berlin, he would be staring at a city he once believed was his to conquer. The Brandenburg Gate, once shattered by bombs, now stands proudly restored. The Reichstag building, the symbol of Nazi power, now serves as the seat of democracy. In his mind, the world has gone mad. Racial diversity, freedom of speech, equality, and inclusion are the values that dominate, and he's powerless to change any of it. His grand vision has crumbled, and there's no place for him in this new world. A terrifying reality. Finally, Hitler would be confronted with the reality of his presence in the 21st century. His costume, his swastika, his very image, everything about him would be illegal. In Germany today, displaying Nazi symbols or promoting Nazi ideologies is a crime. As he walks down the street, his presence would attract attention, not admiration. People would pull out their phones, call the police, and share pictures on social media. He'd be exposed, mocked, and ultimately arrested. So, what happens if Hitler wakes up today? He'd find himself in a world that has rejected everything he stood for. He would be locked away, defeated, terrified, and utterly powerless. His day would end much like his reign, shattered, over, and erased from history. Stay curious. Bye-bye.